Welcome back to another reading and correcting with me, Kindar, the Tiger Writes, and Ty, the Tiger Supervisor. These are where I read a chapter from one of my stories and correct it as I go. If you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch and YouTube. And if you are looking to support me, that is on my Patreon. Today, we are doing chapter 46 of The Captain's Heart. Jeremy's headache felt like it stretched all the way to Earth. It couldn't be more than an hour since Omar had left, but um, it couldn't be, but it could easily be an entire day with the way it dug into, but it could also be an entire day with the way it dug in his mind. Either the ultrasonics had been raised, or it was the result of fighting against it, refusing to let his stomach protest when Growler or the Kelsirians or the ship popped into his mind. He was confident he had the entire design for the antimatter wave particle monitor he'd been puttering on in his spare time, but he had no idea how reliable it was, with how the headache kept pulling at his attention. He didn't open his eyes when the door opened or at the steps. He didn't care who it was. They could. Mr. Bradshaw. He was up, looking at the commander, before he realized they'd move. How are you doing? The tone and expression were less severe than he'd expected. He bit back the curse. As bad as his situation was, antagonizing this man could make it worse. He was certain of that. I'm fine. I'm glad to hear it. I have a situation I need your help with. A way out of this cell? I'll be happy to help if I can. Good, good. The cats barged in. They are demanding I hand you over to them. They claim you are one of them. Like them. The fear surged before he had the box ready. He wasn't like them. They were wrong. No, they weren't. He wasn't like them. For him to be like them made him wrong. He wasn't wrong. He was normal. He was a normal human. They could be however they wanted, but he wasn't like that. Are you well, Mr. Bradshaw? His eyes snapped open, and he thought the man had looked pleased for a second, but his expression was reserved now. I'm fine. I'm glad to hear that. Now, as you can imagine, I won't just hand you over. I'd never do that to someone so valuable to the research taking place here. I hope you believe me. Of course, sir. Why would he doubt the man? He was a prisoner. That man held him captive, kept him from... He was not like that. Good, good. You see, the problem is that they are claiming you need to tell them you want to stay here, that you belong here. You belong here. Someone had told him that. His mother, maybe? But when she said it, there had been a sense of rightness to that was missing here, and he didn't understand why. Of course, them thinking they are so much better, stronger than us means they don't give a fuck about our sovereign rights. So I'm going to take you to them, and you are going to make it clear that you belong here. Yes, the word was out before you could stop it. Good, good. Once this is over, once I've kicked them off my station, I'll make sure you receive the proper treatment for your condition. He reached out of sight, and the bars rose. You'll see. Everything will be fine. When he took Jeremy's shoulder, the grip wasn't gentle. He thought about resisting. He didn't belong with him. He belonged here, but not in this place. The image was of trees and banners, gold eyes, teeth and claws. Shoved the discomfort in the box. That was the here where he belonged, whatever that meant. Secretly waiting for them outside the cell block. He'd never seen them so armed. Heavy rifles, body armor he'd seen in war movies, and their expression showed a willingness to use them. They fell into formation around them, filling the corridor on each side, making how narrow it was more evident. They didn't miss the wideness of the Kelsirian corridors. The commander didn't let go of him as they marched towards them. The headache subsided, but the fear increased with the knowledge they were coming ever closer. Wrong. No! No matter how much he put in the box, there was more of that oozing pain. There was nothing wrong with him. This was their doing. Stay. Stay. There is safety here. He tried to convince himself it was a lie, but he was so afraid of what waited for him. They didn't take the usual lift. The one they stepped on was for cargo, and they all fit. When the door opened, he resisted. Stay here. The commander pulled him forward. After some turns, the back of people faced them. They parted, and he saw them. Danger. No, they weren't a danger, although he had trouble understanding what he saw. Instead of open vest and pants, the Kelsirian wore uniforms in mottled brown and yellows. Then, even more, they even wore boots and gloves. Jeremy had never seen them with foot and hand or hands covered. Danger. He had trouble contradicting the thought. The only one who wasn't dressed that way was Queric. But he too looked dangerous when he glared at them. Here he is, the commander announced. Now, why don't you tell them? Tell them what? He wanted to go where? He wanted safety, for the fear to go away. He wanted home, but he didn't know what that was. Gold eyes. Wrong. Jeremy. Corey's voice was soft, but he had to fight the urge to bolt. Where do you belong? Here. But not like that. Why was this so hard? Why did he have to be in the middle, the one to decide this? He was no one. All he wanted was to be safe, gold eyes and teeth, to be held, fur and claws, to be home. You belong, a woman whispered in his ears. He thought it might be his mother, but the voice was accompanied by the ruffling of banners and the breeze and the smell of trees and gold eyes. There, the word fought through the pain as he locked eyes with gold ones. With them. The commander kept him from doubling over in pain with his painfully tight grip. There was motion, growls, capacitors charging. I believe he told us. Korik said, if you don't tell your people to stand down, Commander, you will be initiating a battle you cannot hope to walk away from unscathed, or one you will drag your species into. He forced his eyes open. Growler's teeth were bared. The others were pointing rifles that looked more powerful than the ones the commander's security had. He glanced up, and the commander was livid. The look in his eyes when he glanced back at him promised violence. Then he shoved Jeremy at the Kelsirian. Fine, take him. You can deal with what's going to cause, what he's going to cause. Hands closed on his arm, and he nearly wrenched himself out of them. Danger, death, wrong. Gold eyes and teeth. Jeremy. His name from that male scared and comforted him. He latched onto the comfort, the knowledge he would be safe. Take me. Wrong. They moved past Kelsirian, who fell into formation behind them. Someone spoke, and Growler's reply was harsh. I need to hand you over, Jeremy. I need to lead my hunters, but you will be safe, I promise. He tried to protest, but then saw the brindled fur of the man he was handed to, his amber eyes. Thurrock? I'll keep you safe, Jeremy, the same as my alpha would. The pain eased now that he wasn't held by Growler. What are you doing here? Protecting my friend, my alpha's heart. The idea the technician would put himself in danger for him was ridiculous. Growler spoke, tones of command, but he wasn't talking to any of the Kelsirians here. He is ordering the ship ready to leave. But the reactor's not repaired. You can't escape whatever the commander will do on whatever you have powering the basic systems. The commander won't do anything, Jeremy, Crick said. And if he is brave enough to try, Growler added, he will find out my ship is more than he believes. Jeremy looked at the at the way the Kelsirians were dressed. No armored. Their weapons. Who the hell are you? The smile Growler gave him was filled with pride. We are hunters of the line. A murmur spread among the others, and a second later they said the same thing in unison in a manner that made Jeremy think of a chant. At least no one had to die, Critic said, and Jeremy stared. Hunters can be obsessive about protecting others. You aren't merchant, are you? We are, Growler answered with that glint of mischief Jeremy had seen a few times yet. I'd only seen a few times yet. But that is not all we are. Just like you are not just an engineer, are you? What else would I be? He asked with a nervous chuckle. Growler's smile turned fierce. You are a warrior. And that concludes chapter 46 of The Captain's Heart. If you are enjoying this, please leave a like. If you want to know when the next chapter will be up, subscribe and hit the bell. If you want to read this story, it is available on Ream Story. If you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch and YouTube. Links are in the notes, and with that, I shall wish you a good day.